Here's the same to Bulldog Don Kent. This is far from over yet. We're staying right with it here.
Terry, they're going all over the building. I've never seen a melee like this in my life.
The Bruiser and Jerry Graham up way into the crowd somewhere. We've lost sight of them on our cameras.
We got Calypso Jim over here.
Hello everyone, I'm Terry Sullivan, welcoming you to a very special edition of Bruiser Bedlam. Joining me today, the Spirit of America, Chris Carter. And Chris, when we talk special, we're talking today the anatomy of a feud as we track the violence that has existed over the past several months between Calypso Jim and Dr. Jerry Graham.
Well, you know, Terry, it's always a thrill for me to be here, you know, and I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to really scrutinize this feud, and I think it's going to be well worth the viewing audience's attention for the entire hour.
You said it. Stay with us, fans. We will return in a moment with some highlights as Calypso Jim against Dr. Jerry Graham. Today, ladies and gentlemen, a special edition of Bruiser Bedlam. Joining me is Chris Carter, the Spirit of America, as we take you back into the recent past to track the series of events which have led to this immense altercation between Calypso Jim and Dr. Jerry Graham. Certainly the feelings between these two have disintegrated to new lows recently. Everything, I guess, will culminate very, very soon inside of a steel cage, and it's a bit of a shame that things have to disintegrate to that point. Yet obviously this is the sport of wrestling. It's Bruiser Bedlam. Anything goes, and this is what the fans enjoy seeing, and this is what it's going to come to very, very soon between Calypso Jim and Dr. Jerry Graham. And later on, Chris, we want to talk about your relationship with Dr. Jerry Graham, which goes back a few years, because if anybody, I think, knows what makes Dr. Jerry Graham tick, it's you, because of your association in the past with Dr. Jerry Graham. But now, back to the anatomy of a feud between Calypso Jim and Dr. Jerry Graham. I think the first indication that there was going to be some serious trouble between these two top professional wrestlers occurred on a segment of Graham's Gallery. Now, certainly on many occasions you have been on Graham's Gallery. These things have just disintegrated into all-out insult sessions between Dr. Jerry Graham and whoever his guest might be. But this particular edition of Graham's Gallery didn't start out that way.
Well, you know, Terry, you're right. You know, Dr. Jerry Graham, you know, talk about a man of 1,001 faces. You know, he started the Graham's Gallery out, you know, and he started out as he was going to be a professional, top-notch journalistic program, you know, with involving all the wrestlers from the WWA. But as the gallery progressed, he just started pulling out he just stopped pulling any punches. He was just letting them all fly. You know, he was insulting Calypso Jim. You know, and I would like to take a moment and give Calypso Jim credit, because, you know, Calypso Jim just sat back there like the gentleman that he is. You know, not many people know Calypso Jim just as well as I do, but he sat back there and he took it, Terry, and I might have punched Graham in the nose, but he took it. So
let's see it now, ladies and gentlemen. We take you back to just a few months back, the beginning of the feud between Dr. Jerry Graham and Calypso Jim.
Welcome, wrestling fans. This is a new segment on Championship Wrestling we call Graham's Gallery. The reason it's referred to as Graham's Gallery is because I, Dr. Jerry Graham, am the world's foremost authority on wrestling. Also, being an educated man, an expert on television journalism, I thought it would be apropos for myself to bring you the biggest names in professional wrestling, giving you the probing, in-depth interviews, asking the questions that you fans would like to ask. Now, for some of you fans, especially on the East Coast, if the name is familiar but the face isn't, you may be remembering my wrestling father, Dr. Jerry Graham, who's now retired and living in Los Angeles. Now, if you're expecting to see someone come out here and do stand-up comedy, quick one-line witticisms like you may see elsewhere, you've come to the wrong place. This is going to be a very serious, laid-out interview segment where we ask the tough questions to the toughest wrestlers. Now, being that I am an active professional wrestler myself, there may be times when opponents of mine or potential opponents will be interviewed, or some wrestlers that maybe I'm more friendly with. That will not enter into this segment. We'll see complete journalistic neutrality. Regardless of who I'm interviewing, we are going to maintain a level of high caliber journalism. Now, our guests today, one of them especially, needs no introductions to wrestling fans anywhere in the world. It's the world famous globetrotter Bobo Brazil. And love him or hate him, nobody can deny the fact that he is one of the premier wrestlers of our times, several times former world champion, several times former United States champion, and right now going stronger than ever. With him, his apprentice, his protege, a man whose career, Bobo actually put his own career on hold to train and help this man, Calypso Jim. Bobo, I'd like to welcome you to my segment.
Thank you. Dr. Jerry Graham, I like the way you're talking today. Everything is beautiful.
Very good, Bobo. Now, I'm sure a lot of the fans are going to want to know, where did you first meet Calypso Jim, and how did he happen to come under your proverbial wing?
Well, you know, I'd never heard of Calypso Jim before. And about 3 years ago, someone rang my doorbell, and it was Calypso Jim. So he said, Bobo, I've been looking for you for a long time. So I heard about you, but I never did meet you before. So I looked at the guy. He had one of the beautiful bodies I've ever seen in professional wrestling. I said, I think you are my man.
Well, a lot of times a good body isn't necessarily a symbol of a man could be a good wrestler.
Wait 1 second, let me get through.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir.
Okay.
I thought I'd add a thought.
The man had the good body. I know he had it in his heart, a wrestling. I take this guy to the gym, and do you know one thing? It didn't take him no 2 years or 1 year to learn how to wrestle. This man learned how to wrestle, I say, fans, in 6 months.
Well, I understand that, as you and I both know, Bobo, wrestlers have to be very quick thinking. It's not just a matter of good physical conditioning, it's also a matter, and this man and probably a lot of people from Jamaica understand are not such quick thinkers. Maybe they're a little slow.
He's not
well,
slow.
I mean, you can look at the Neanderthal type skull.
Well, listen, you started off you know what? You ready to surprise me, Dr. Jerry Graham. The way you started off talking, I said, this man have made a big change. Now here, what's wrong with the man's hair?
Well, I didn't say anything about the man's hair yet, but that's a good point. I mean, this doesn't look like a man to me. In fact, when I look at this Calypso Jim's hair, he reminds me of Buckwheat on the Little Rascals.
Listen, let me tell you one thing, Graham. Now I'm going to have to walk off this set.
I don't care if you walk off or not. This is my set.
You started off too good. And I'm going to tell you one thing. You shouldn't be saying anything about this man's hair.
Well, I think it's ridiculous.
It is your business.
I'm going to close down this show now saying, Calypso Jim, you may or may not be a good wrestler. Time will tell. But I think that your hair is ludicrous. I think it's ridiculous. I think you should be working on Little Rascals, not in professional wrestling.
Miller Beer and Bruiser Bedlam bringing you the anatomy of a feud. Dr. Jerry Graham against Calypso Jim. We have seen the beginning of the feud. We have seen the appearance of Calypso Jim on Graham's gallery with Dr. Jerry Graham, which disintegrated just into a stream of insults on behalf of Dr. Jerry Graham. And now, Chris, we take the fans to a title match, a world championship match, the Great Wojo against Calypso Jim. And of course, everything is on the line, a long-awaited title shot for Calypso.
Well, you know, Terry, every wrestler's dream is to have that title shot because everybody wants to wear that gold around their waist. You know, Calypso Jim, in this particular match, he was having one battle with the Great Wojo, but then, Terry, there was another battle on the outside of the ring with none other than Dr. Jerry Graham. You know, and Calypso Jim, he just kept going on with the match, and as the people will see, he eventually blew his cork, you know, and I couldn't believe that he waited that long to blow his cork, you know, because when it comes to Jerry Graham, you know, sometimes just the thought of him, and as you mentioned earlier, how well I know him, the traveling that we did, when I just think about him, you know, I can just feel my blood pressure increase. So I give Calypso a lot of credit because Calypso had one thing on his mind, that was the gold, you know, but it didn't quite work out that way, Terry.
With Dr. Jerry Graham at ringside, ladies and gentlemen, we take you on to the next chapter now in the anatomy of a feud.
The Great Wojo, the World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. This is a title match. A title match between two top competitors, something you rarely see on television. Here he comes again with a fist. And Jim's in trouble.
He's punishing him now.
Face first on the canvas again, Wojo with the attack with the boots. Jim just has had a heck of a time getting into the action here. He's certainly having his problems. Calypso Jim, certainly one of the finest wrestlers around. He's been overwhelmed by the Great Wojo. Wojo's all the way up to the top, but Jim got there first. All the fans thrilling to the action from Calypso Jim. He had all he could take from the Great Wojo.
This is Bruiser Bedlam. This is Bruiser Bedlam. Now get him, Jim.
Over the top goes Wojo. Wojo feeling the effects of that one. Watch out for Jerry Graham, lurking dangerously in the background. Slam! Oh, a power slam. Looked like Wojo went down head first.
Oh, he hit it right on his head. That should finish Wojo.
We could see a championship change hands here today on Bruiser Bedlam.
This shows This shows Wojo's recuperative powers.
Yes, it does.
Any normal wrestler would have been completely knocked out. He lived right on top of his head on that power slam.
Wojo in superb condition, perhaps better condition than any professional athlete today.
Like I told you, he's tough.
Flying mare by the Calypso.
They're both tough. Both men deserve, even though I don't like Wojo, they deserve a lot of credit for as tough as they are.
Well, certainly you can empathize with what Calypso Jim is feeling. You've been in there many times with the great Wojo and some classic encounters. Headbutt.
Yeah, he's done.
Look out for Graham on the right-hand side of your screen. Calypso's going after him with a headbutt. And the fans love every minute of it. Calypso Jim has had all he can take from Dr. Jerry Graham. Graham is down, out on the floor. Here comes Bobo. Meanwhile, the referee is putting in the count. Dick the Bruiser is on his feet now. Bobo trying to get Calypso Jim back into the ring, but I do believe it is too late. Yes. Bruiser, I think he was counted out.
That's the way it looks. Let's see.
That's unfortunate, but you know you can't blame Calypso Jim for going after Graham.
Well, when he did go after him, he has done a job on Graham. Graham is bleeding.
And Bobo Brazil head-butted Dr. Jerry just out of camera range.
Well, I'll tell you.
There's the good doctor.
That's Bruiser Bedlam.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner by disqualification and still champion, the great Wojo.
Like clarification, Bruiser, Calypso Jim was counted out on the floor.
He was counted out, but he did inflict punishment.
What a match it was. Both men giving it their all. Calypso Jim very frustrated.
You notice the Calypso Jim stomped on Graham's hand when he's down there. It looks like he's broken it. He's broken Graham's hand.
And how about a big round of applause for Calypso Jim and Bobo Brazil?
Calypso Jim, we all feel for you. You certainly gave the great Wojo one of the best challenges we've ever seen in a World Championship match here on television, and I don't think that any of the fans here can blame you. You took all you could take from Dr. Jerry Graham, and you went right after him finally.
Yes, man, this guy, Dr. Jerry Graham, I have had so much off this guy since I come in the United States, man. And this Dr. Jerry Graham, every time I get the great Wojo down, I get someone in his stable down, he always picked, and I just took too much, man. I took too much off this guy, I'm sorry. I get carried away to all the fans and the people, the belt should have been mine, but I got carried away, man. But Dr. Graham, thanks to Bobo, was trying to get me in. I wouldn't listen for my...
Calypso, we're out of time, but I'm sure with the great way you proved yourself tonight, you'll get an opportunity very, very soon again.
Much more yet to come today on Bruiser Bedlam as we continue tracking the anatomy of the feud between Dr. Jerry Graham and Calypso Jim and lead into the final chapter, which will take place inside of a 16-foot-high steel cage. Chris Carter joins us today. Some insight, if you will, on the man, Dr. Jerry Graham, a guy he always flashes the big wad of bills. You know this guy. Is he really such a big spender? Does he have all this loot that he always claims to have?
Well, you know something, Terry, I'll tell you what. I know Jerry very, very well, probably better than he would like to admit. But I'll tell you, Jerry Graham has inherited money. The Graham family is synonymous with wrestling. He has made some unbelievable amounts of money in his wrestling career. Terry, we would be out somewhere. We would be, say, in a nightclub or somewhere, and we would run a tab up for the evening, and all of a sudden we'd be ready to go, and he'd... Oops, Chris, I
arms and deep pockets,
I don't have my wallet with me. Can you take care of that? Okay, I'll take care of that. So then the next morning we're checking out of the motel, Chris, I got to run, I got to do this, and can you just get that? Okay, well, I'd pay for that. And I was young at the time, naive to wrestling. I wanted to be in wrestling so bad. Terry, at the end of 1 year, I look back at everything, and I shelled out $24,000 worth of bills for this guy, because he's not, I got to do this, I'll be right back, I'll get that later, So, yes, he does have it.
Yeah.
But...
sort of the way I thought things were with Dr. Jerry Graham. As we continue now with the anatomy of the feud here, we lead into a tag team match in which you're involved, Chris. Now, Calypso Jim initially was not even involved in this tag team match, which was for the World Tag Team title. Another instance where a title is at stake. Graham and Kent against yourself and Fred Curry.
Well, you know, Terry, I tell you, that was probably, you know, one of the most exciting matches of my career. You know, like I said earlier, everybody wants a gold, everybody wants a championship, you know. And we had Graham and Kent in a bit of trouble. And who comes in? The trained ape, the great Wojo. You know, Terry, I'll tell you, I just can't believe it. They were in our grasps, and there it went.
Well, let's see it as we continue with the anatomy of a feud here on Bruiser Bedlam.
Carter's a little wobbly as Kent moves in on him. And Bulldog Don Kent certainly likes to capitalize on an advantage like this.
Yeah, this is where their teamwork comes in.
Certainly they are an extremely effective tag team combination. The record is proof of that. They have held the tag team championship for quite some time now, facing the very best around the world. It's Carter and Kent. Carter in a bad way. Watch out. Here he comes. Right in front of him. And here comes Graham.
Watch out!
They're right in front of us. Graham. Oh no, a body slam on the outside. That shook this place. Chris Carter. Let's hope he's not seriously injured. Certainly he's well conditioned. That may have saved him. Come on. Curry at ringside to try to help out his partner. And this match is just about one step away from an all-out brawl.
Yeah, this is a Bruiser Bedlam.
Watch out! Double suplex.
Oh boy. If that doesn't finish Carter, nothing will.
Kent on top of his man. Carter able to kick out though.
He's got a lot of guts. Carter's got a lot of fortitude.
Body slam in for the count again. He doesn't hook the leg though, and Carter kicks out.
He's out again.
And the barking starts. And look what it does to the Bulldog. This could be very dangerous for Don Kent, Bruiser, as he's totally distracted by the fans.
He shouldn't be there.
He shouldn't allow him to get to him like that, and they love it.
He's completely distracted. There now he noticed his partner was on top of the ropes.
Graham moves in on Chris Carter. I didn't see the tag there, but the referee is allowing it. And Carter comes with a boot that puts the doctor down. Referee with the count now. Oh, big boot right into his stomach.
He caught him real good that time.
Bulldog Don Kent drops the knee down right in the forehead of Carter. Don Kent and Dr. Jerry Graham defending the World Tag Team Championship today on Bruiser Bedlam. Another knee to the head, in for the count again. Fred Curry moves in though. He's had about enough. I know you must feel pretty much the same way sitting here at ringside, Bruiser. You can only take so much.
There's nothing more than like for me to jump in there and grab him, but I'm not going to do it.
I understand you've been ordered to stay out of things by the commission.
That's right. The commission says, Bruiser, we know what kind of guy you are, but if you interfere in these matches, I could lose my wrestling license to promote these matches, and I'm not about to do it.
Well, it's certainly a great opportunity for the fans to get some truly expert commentary from one of the all-time greats, Legend Dick the Bruiser. Back in action in center ring with the tag team champions. Head first into the boot of Kent. Tag is on. Here comes the Bulldog against Chris Carter. Fred Curry just itching to get in there for some action here. I think Kent and Graham are doing their utmost to keep Carter from making that tag. Heavy forearm blows put Carter down. And the Bulldog twisting that head right around. Bulldog Don Kent, perhaps at one point a chiropractor, I don't know. The barking again. Working well for Carter and Curry. The referee, I don't think, is going to allow that, Bruiser. Or will he?
Well, he's going to make him go out. Making him go out.
Tag must be made over the top rope. The Bulldog holding on to Carter. Graham comes off the top with a double fist. Carter is down. He's in serious trouble. Referee orders the bell, a disqualification, I think, Bruiser.
Yeah, like I said, they're just itching for me to get in there, and I'm not going to do it. And I think they know that I can't do it. They're just baiting me, I can feel it.
Gotta be tough for you, Bruiser.
They're baiting me to make sure I don't help.
Let's hope we can get some word back to the dressing room here before we have some serious damage done here. Here comes Bobo Brazil and Calypso Jim. The place is going wild. Bobo. Bobo Brazil. Laying him in, clearing the ring along with Calypso Jim. You think maybe they were in dire threats of losing their title there, Bruiser? Is that why Rojo jumped in?
I think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to interference, this has been called a no contest. Still the world champions, Dr. Jerry Graham and Bulldog Don Kent.
Well, that's Bruiser Bedlam. That's Bruiser Bedlam, I'm going to tell you.
Well, let's hear it for Fred Curry and Chris Carter. A big round of applause.
We've got to talk to you after what just happened here. Wojo coming out of nowhere. I think maybe the champions came real close to losing their titles, and that's why Wojo came in.
Well, you know something, Terry? I'll tell you what. This is how these guys operate. I've wrestled these guys all over the country, and I'll tell you what. I think maybe next time I should have somebody like Bobo Brazil or Calypso Jim in our corner so they can watch, and then you'll see some new WWA Tag Team Champions.
The anatomy of a feud continues on Bruiser Bedlam with the assistance of the Miller Brewing Company. Chris Carter joining us here today as we present a series of events which have taken place over the past few months tracking the feud between Dr. Jerry Graham and Calypso Jim. Now, we've gotten some insight into what kind of a treacherous individual Dr. Jerry Graham is. Now, we saw the beginning of the friendship just a few moments ago between yourself, Chris, and Calypso Jim. What kind of a guy is Calypso Jim?
Well, you know, Terry, you were talking about the beginning of a friendship. That's true. You know, I always admired Calypso's ability, you know, and I admired how much he puts into his sport, you know, and over a period of time, we have become very good friends. You know, Calypso Jim he's the total opposite of Jerry Graham. Calypso Jim is very few people know he's a very religious person, number one. He's a very dedicated family man. He trains hard. He's very dedicated to his sport. You know, his life is his family and his sport. You know, and he is just probably, without a doubt, one of the finest gentlemen that I've ever met in my life. And I'm sure that all the wrestling fans that see him and see him in the different arenas and get to talk to him and shake his hand, they can just feel the genuine friendship and warmth that he has to offer.
So it makes you really feel badly for a guy like Calypso Jim when something happens to him that we're about to see now. The low point in the entire life of Calypso Jim, something which took him literally weeks and weeks to recover from. We're going to show you now the all-time most humiliating moment in the life of Calypso Jim, which took place at the hands of Dr. Jerry Graham.
The whip is on. Kent into the corner, bounces out. Calypso Jim right there with him.
What?
No. Jerry Graham is in there. What is he? I don't understand. Well, we've got a problem situation here now. Dr. Jerry Graham, it's long been known he has no love for Calypso Jim, but now we've got the double teaming going on here.
What are they doing now? They're gonna
wait a minute, he's got a scissors. Oh no, he's cutting those braids off. Look at that. They're cutting, Bruiser, they're cutting those braids off. Wojo is in there. Wow, this is shocking. Oh, now this has got to be stopped here. We've got to have a stop put to this. Calypso Jim, wait up, there goes the Bruiser. The Bruiser has left the table. The Bruiser's on his way into the ring. There you see him, here comes the Bruiser. Now, this is too much. This is absolutely too much. Bruiser's clearing the ring. Dick the Bruiser has cleared the ring, and thank God for Dick the Bruiser. I cannot believe it. I've seen a lot of things in all the years that I've been doing professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. Bruiser just tossed the referee out on his can. And Dick the Bruiser is mad. And look at Calypso Jim. This is... Oh, I feel sorry for him. You know, I've seen Graham and Ken and people like that do some despicable things. But have you ever... It's really hard for me to find the words at this point in time. This is just too bad. Absolutely too bad. I mean, humiliation just isn't a strong enough word for this. Oh, that's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't know if Graham and Kent and Wojo know what they have gotten themselves into. I can see... Look at him, just picking him up again. Dick the Bruiser is there. This is too bad.
Disqualified due to interference, Bulldog Don Ken. Winner, Calypso Jim.
I tell you, I don't know what to say. What can I say? What can I say? I'm really shocked beyond words at this. This is too much. Too much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go up and try to talk to Calypso Jim here. Hold on.
This doesn't make any sense, man. Graham, I'm gonna get you, man. That was the last thing I do. If I believe Ratson, I'm gonna get you, man. I'm gonna get you, Graham. You understand? Once you, Graham, it's get. I'm gonna get you. I'm not coming to fight. I'm coming to hurt somebody, man. Look what you did to me. You took my pride and joy. You cut my hair, man. Where I come from is Kingston. If you don't have hair, you're not a man. But Graham, you tried to take that away from me, man. You gotta get it now, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming right back. Stay with us.
The Miller Brewing Company bringing you Bruiser Bedlam today as we track the anatomy of the feud between Dr. Jerry Graham and Calypso Jim and talk about how soon the final chapter will be told in this battle inside of a 16-foot-high steel cage. But now, Chris Carter, we've talked about Jerry Graham. I found the revelations from you as being, at one point in time, very close to Jerry Graham. I found your revelations about his spending very interesting because I had always thought that he was a big spender, that we could believe what he said about that whole line.
Well, wait a second, Terry. Wait a second. Let me clarify one thing. Dr. Jerry Graham, he is a big spender. He spends a lot of money. You know, he would come up to me and he'd say, "Chris, I want to show you this diamond ring that I just purchased with a rock like that on it."
Okay.
And Chris, you mind coming down here for a second? I want you to look at this new Mercedes I got and see if you really like the color, you know. And then he'd come up to me with his maybe $1,500 suit on, all tailored. "Do you like this?" He would say to me, you know, "Is it, you know?" So when it came to spending for Jerry Graham spends. You see, it's like many times, you know, in the past we'd be in New York and he would go to Studio 54 and he'd say, "Well, why don't you just come and meet me there later?" You know, and I think to myself, "Well, come and meet you there later." Well, okay, you know, but you know, like I said, Terry, thank God for age and wisdom, because I've learned some very good lessons. You know,
we laugh about it, but it's really totally serious when you get to a guy like him for just the reasons that we've seen in this program today. Some of the things that he's pulled. He's a treacherous guy. He's a manipulator. We've heard the stories about the 80% that he takes off of some of the wrestlers that he manages, etc. We could talk forever about some of the negative points about Dr. Jerry Graham, but moving ahead now on the program on Bruiser Bedlam today, Sweet Revenge.
Oh, I can't wait for this, Terry. I just can't wait for it. Oh, I tell you, the people are going to love it.
Every dog has his day, they say, and as we mentioned, Calypso Jim at one of the all-time low points of his entire life, and we will see what helped to bring him out of that right now as we continue with the anatomy of a feud today on Bruiser Bedlam.
I did it because I'm big enough to do it. I did it because he looked like buckwheat. I cut his hair. He looks like a decent man now. He looks like a decent human being. He should thank me, but you know, he makes all these threats behind my back. He does all these things, but you know, none of it interests me at all because he hasn't got the guts to do anything to my face. So I tell you, wait now!
What's going on, Terry?
Well, Bruiser, it's all broken loose in the ring now. This had to happen. Oh, look at that. Well, there goes the coat. He's ripping that coat right off his back.
Good boy, Jim.
Calypso Jim, he's going berserk on Dr. Jerry Graham. He's just ripped that tuxedo coat. There goes the shirt. Calypso Jim. Some sweet revenge, sweet retribution here on Dr. Jerry Graham. I can't believe this.
That's what happens when you fool with Calypso.
When you play with fire, you get burned. That's what they say. And, he's not stopping yet. There go the pants. Well,
I'll tell you.
Well, the doctor stripped of his dignity, not to mention his tuxedo.
He didn't lose his tie, Terry.
Oh, look at Dr. Jerry Graham. Look at him. He is livid. He is livid. He has been embarrassed and humiliated, much the same as he did to Calypso Jim here not too long ago.
Outrage! An outrage! An outrage!
Well, I don't know what else he could have expected, Bruiser. I really don't.
I'm glad it happened, Terry. He deserves anything that can happen to him.
Graham's tuxedo is just in tatters and shreds and pieces in the ring. We're going to see it again. Here comes Calypso Jim. Graham said he wouldn't do anything to his face, but there he came out of nowhere. Laying some heavy moves on Dr. Jerry Graham. I still can't believe this happened. I tell you. And there is a nice power slam by Calypso Jim. That had to take a lot out of Dr. Jerry Graham, and there goes the coat. This is amazing. Well, Calypso Jim has certainly gotten a piece of Dr. Jerry Graham, no doubt about it.
That's got to be a good $200 to $300 suit he just tore out, Terry.
Oh, at least. Dr. Jerry Graham, of course, well known for his impeccable taste and his...
I hate to say it, but I was admiring his suit. I don't admire Dr. Graham, but I did admire that suit a while ago, and now look at it.
I bet he used to admire it too, but he won't anymore.
He deserves to lose a piece of garment like that.
That suit is history. Calypso Jim, of course.
And it's still not like your hair. He's a little happy. He's compensated maybe one curl, but he's still got a lot to get that Jerry Graham.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Miller Beer bringing you Bruiser Bedlam today, a special edition we've titled The Anatomy of a Feud, as we track the altercation between Calypso Jim and Dr. Jerry Graham from its infant stages on up to the present day. In only moments we will bring you some never-before-seen footage of Calypso Jim and Dr. Jerry Graham in action in a tag team battle. But first, Chris, we've talked about the final chapter of this feud, which is, of course, yet to be written. It will take place inside of a steel cage. Now, you're one of the toughest wrestlers in existence today, and I imagine there's been a few times that you have had to take part inside of a cage match. Does a wrestler look forward to wrestling inside of a 16-foot-high steel cage?
Well, you know, Terry, I tell you that it's very hard to answer that because you go through so many different emotions prior to the match, because you know, number one, that a steel cage is without a doubt the most dangerous match in the history of professional wrestling. I mean, Terry, when you take a guy, if you've never had this done, you don't know what I mean, but I just imagine, you take a guy and you ram his head into a steel post, Terry. I mean, it knocks the daylights out of you.
Not just once, time and time again, right?
That's true. You know, Terry, I've been in steel cage matches where I've lost so much blood. When it was over, I didn't know where I was. I was practically out of it. But like I say, you know, prior to the match, the emotions that you go through, you know, I mean, you're just torn apart, you know, and when you get in there and that bell rings, it's just like an explosion, and you just go and you just tear into your opponents. And that's where these guys are headed, because they just, you know, no ring can contain them. There only is one way to contain these type of individuals, and that is in a steel cage.
That final chapter then to take place inside of the steel cage. Before that, though, the most recent happening, the altercation between Calypso Jim and Dr. Jerry Graham, took part as part of a tag team match never before seen on this or any other television program. We had the tape machines rolling simply for the purposes of our archives. The WWA has permitted us to show a few minutes of this exciting tag team match. Dick the Bruiser and Calypso Jim against Dr. Jerry Graham and Bulldog Don Kent. Let's go to ringside.
Oh, and look at Kent working on Calypso, laying his fist to him.
Jim is prone on the mat. The fans are barking, but the Bulldog continues his attack on Calypso Jim. A series of knee drops on the Jamaican.
Calypso's a bit weary right now, Terry. He's taken quite a bit of punishment in this match. He desperately needs that tag.
The World Tag Team Championship is at stake here. Calypso Jim and the Bruiser, the challengers. Calypso fires one in on the Bulldog. Through the legs it goes. The tag is made. The referee saw it. Here comes the Bruiser. Bruiser Bedlam.
Here we go. That's what Dick does best, Terry. He punches him in the nose. He rams him into the turnbuckle. Look at him go.
Dick the Bruiser doesn't have a lot of the fancy wrestling moves, but boy, can he get it done in there. All four of them in the action now. Bruiser hurls Graham head first right into that steel turnbuckle.
You know, Terry, we talk about Kent and Graham being brawlers. Well, I think Dick the Bruiser wrote the book on brawling.
You're absolutely right. All you gotta do is take a good close look at that face of the Bruiser and you know he's been in a heck of a lot of wars.
Look at that, Terry. They've opened up Don Kent.
Kent has been split open, so has Graham. Both of the tag team champions are suffering.
I don't think Jerry Graham knows where he is right now, Terry.
They've both been opened up.
Outside kick.
Well, you know, we've seen the Bruiser take a lot of stuff, a lot of verbal abuse from the tag team champions sitting here at ringside. Now is his opportunity for some serious payback.
This is sweet revenge for Dick the Bruiser because I know that sitting at the commentary table here, Terry, it has driven him nuts over these weeks.
I think we're just about getting set for a head-on collision.
Here we go.
The wind-up, and there you go. The tag team champions down.
You know, Terry, a sellout crowd here at the Premier Center. The people are going wild.
The champions have both been injured by the Bruiser and Calypso Jim. They're taking their lumps, and we could see a title change. Things are heading in that direction at this point in time.
Look at the look in Dick's face.
Look at Kent. Kent's just a mess.
Graham's opened up. Kent's opened up. Talk about some sweet revenge, Terry. Dick's got to be loving this.
Headbutt. That'll add more injury to the already battered head of Bulldog Don Kent. Here they go again. Collision in mid-ring.
Bruiser Bedlam at its finest right here, Terry.
And the fans are loving it. Dick the Bruiser going wild, along with his partner Calypso Jim. The tag team champions are on the run now. We've seen him run roughshod over some, shall we say, lesser opponents in weeks past. And as we mentioned, now it's payback time. Dick the
Look at the Bruiser. The Bruiser's got that claw on Graham. He just knocked the referee down, Terry.
Kent in a serious way now at the hands of Calypso Jim.
Oh, Terry, did you see that? They rammed their heads together. Did you see it?
I heard a crack, too. And the referee signals for the bell. He's taken enough.
Terry, it's like you said, I don't think the tag team champions mean that championship means that much to Dick and Calypso right now. They want a little sweet revenge.
That's a good point. The belts cannot change hands on a disqualification. So revenge is what it's all about from this point forward.
There they are, Terry, the World Tag Team Champions down, battered, and bloody. Listen to this capacity crowd, Terry. They're getting into it now, baby.
They're chanting the Bruiser. And certainly, Chris, we must say, a moral victory for the Bruiser and Calypso Jim.
The Bruiser and Calypso Jim. Winners and still WWA Tag Team Champions, Bulldog Don Kent and Dr. Jerry Graham.
Graham's head just thrown into the railing. Calypso Jim does the same to Bulldog Don Kent. This is far from over yet. We're staying right with it here.
Terry, they're going all over the building. I've never seen a melee like this in my life.
The Bruiser and Jerry Graham up way into the crowd somewhere. We've lost sight of them on our cameras.
We got Calypso Jim over here, and I think Don Kent is out.
I've totally lost sight of them. I can't see where they are. Just a mass of fans up in the audience.
You know, Terry, I've been around wrestling for many years, and I've never seen anything like this.
Well, no ring can hold them. That's obvious. The tag team champions, bruised, bloodied, and battered. There's Jerry Graham back in the picture.
Coming back into our camera view here. Graham is bloodied, battered. He don't even know where he's at, Terry.
Bloodied, battered.
Here comes Don Kent. He's down and out.
Graham not even waiting for Kent. He's just bailing out. Kent moving out, slammed into a chair by Calypso Jim. This has just been an incredible display. Bruiser Bedlam at its
And the
wildest.
world's most dangerous wrestler,
There's
Dick
Dick the Bruiser. Graham and Kent disqualified the winners. Dick the Bruiser and Calypso Jim.
You know, Terry, I said it before, but I'll say it again. This capacity crowd is into it.
Absolutely, they love what they're seeing because certainly they have watched what we all have, watched the tactics of Graham and Kent over the weeks, months, years. Dick the Bruiser and Calypso Jim.
Here they come, Terry.
Winners by disqualification, certainly a moral victory. Thank you very much for joining us here at ringside. Certainly an incredible match here on Bruiser Bedlam. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Certainly, we've seen some of the most intense action ever to take place inside of the squared circle between Dr. Jerry Graham and Calypso Jim as we've traced the anatomy of a feud today. Chris Carter, our thanks for being here with us today. Now, the next time inside of the squared circle, that 16-foot-high steel cage will be surrounding the ring.
Well, you know, Terry, I tell you, there's a lot of interest in this. The fans are demanding this. This is one way to settle it, and it will be settled.
Thanks again, Chris. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Just going into the railing. Calypso Jim does the same to Bulldog Don Kent. This is far from over yet. We're staying right with it here.
Terry, they're going all over the building. I've never seen a melee like this in my life.
The Bruiser and Jerry Graham up way into the crowd somewhere. We've lost sight of them on our cameras.
We got Calypso Jim over here, and I think Don Kent is out at sea.
I've totally lost sight of them. I can't see where they are. Just a mass of fans up in the audience.
You know, Terry, I've been around wrestling for many years, and I've never seen anything like this.
Well, no ring can hold them. That's obvious. The tag team champions, bruised, bloodied, and battered. There's Jerry
Here comes
Graham
Jerry
back in the picture.
Graham coming back into our camera view here.
Oh.
Graham is bloodied,
He's
battered.
dazed.
He don't even know where he's at, Terry.
Bloodied,
Here
battered.
comes Don Kent. He's down and out.